Welcome back. This morning, House Resolution 4405 passed, otherwise known as the Epstein Transparency Act. We're going to go over a little bit of what this means and what's going to come next after this. To begin, the act calls for a few things. Number one, that the Department of Justice must publish all unclassified Epstein-related records. This would include documents, communications, and investigative materials related to Jeffrey Epstein, Ghislaine Maxwell, and investigations or prosecutions involving the two. Number two, these records must be publicly accessible and organized into specific categories like flight logs, communications, entity records, or records of documentation or communication between the Department of Justice internally. Number three, the Department of Justice, at the discretion of the Attorney General, so AG Pam Bondi is going to be the one signing off on every single document that comes out of this, is permitted to withhold only the following. Number one, content that would compromise victims' personally identifiable information. So anything that would allow a victim to be identified, like a name, an address, perhaps an association. Number two, CSAM, or explicit content involving minors. This was a key point of privacy throughout the case, something that was mentioned over and over again. This was included in the first draft of the bill by Ro Khanna and Thomas Massie, and Republicans still felt the need to bring it up at every point for some reason. Most likely a deflection, but let's keep going. Number three, and this is the important one, anything that may compromise an active investigation. Keep that in mind because we'll get back to that later. And finally, number four, any classified information. And remember, this is at the discretion of Attorney General Pam Bondi. So expect to see a lot more of that black highlighter showing up here, right? Remember, folks, we need them to stop using that black highlighter on accident, right? We need to start seeing some names. Now, keep in mind, folks, they may not redact any information simply because it is embarrassing or reputationally harmful, right? And this is where a lot of people are scared. This is where a lot of these people are shaking in their boots, right? Because they didn't do anything that raised it to the level of criminal negligence or recklessness or any criminal act, right? But they were doing some shady stuff. And this is where a lot of names are going to get caught up. In what I believe to be a politically expedient move, Trump asked the House Republicans to vote yes on this House resolution over the weekend. Keep in mind, he was a constant no vote before this, telling people it was a Democrat hoax, telling people to shrug it off, it was a distraction, etc., etc. I think he saw the tide turning. I think he saw the massive support behind MTG and the massive support behind Thomas Massie, and he made a politically expedient decision that he was not going to be responsible for the 100 or so Republicans who were going to have a no next to their names. Now, keep in mind, a lot of the usual suspects have been ride or die for Trump, lockstep with whatever he says. And now that he's kind of changed his mind, it's led to some very, very funny moments. Like take this one, for example. Here you can see Congressman Troy E. Nels, a representative out of the 22nd District in Texas. This is a very strong statement on November 14th, right? Let's read it. I will be voting no on the Epstein hoax. The Democrats are using the Epstein hoax to distract us from the winning of President Trump and his administration. Tough. Yeah. Or voting no. Today I voted yes.
Huh?
Today I voted yes to release the Epstein files. Absolutely spineless. Just spineless. And the worst part about it is there's no shame anymore, right? The shame is gone, right? Because nobody's holding them to account for stuff like this anymore, right? I will be voting no. I voted yes. Let's keep going. In addition to this, we saw House Speaker Mike Johnson, aka Epstein's greatest defender, make another impassioned plea to not release the files. And this time, it's a matter of national security. That's right, folks. If we release the Epstein files, our country will be in danger. Let's listen to him tell us why.
All right. Number 5, national security concerns, okay? The discharge requires the Attorney General to release within 30 days, quote, classified information to the maximum extent possible. This ignores the principle that declassification should always rest, and always has rested, with the agency that originated the intelligence. Why? So that they can protect their critical sources and methods. It is incredibly dangerous to demand that officials or employees of the DOJ declassify materials that originated in other agencies, in intelligence agencies.
Now, if you are a normal person, I think the first question that would come to mind after watching something like that is, what is the national security matter associated with Jeffrey Epstein? Are there foreign nationals and dignitaries in those files like there's rumored to be? Why don't Americans have a right to know which world leaders are implicated in this? What is the threat to national security posed by releasing the files of the world's most prolific trafficker? Now let's rewind a bit, right? Remember how I mentioned that anything that was under active investigation could be withheld? It's important to keep this in mind because this may point to Trump's next angle. Remember that over the weekend, Trump demanded that the Department of Justice and Pam Bondi investigate specific people he claimed are implicated in the case. All of them Democrats or Democratic donors. Conveniently enough, this would have case materials fall under the scope of active investigation, giving him yet another reason not to release the files. For now, it goes to the Senate. If the Senate amends it, it'll go back to the House for another vote. If they decide not to amend it and pass it through, it will go to the president's desk where Trump will have the final say. Do you think if this ends up on Trump's desk, it's going to pass, or do you think this is going to end with a veto? Let me know in the comments below. Thank you as always, and I'll see you guys again soon.